What's up everyone, I hope you're doing well. The other day I saw a comment asking me to do a tutorial or a sample pack on how to make music like My Soul's on Ice by Earl, and I decided to do both. So in this video I'm going to be breaking down a song I made that's similar to My Soul's on Ice by Earl, and then in the description of this you can get the download to a free sample pack where I did 5 samples that are also similar to that song. So in this song, it's very ambient drum and bass, but I believe it's from 1995. The upload on SoundCloud says 1995, so that's what I'm going with. So it's a lot simpler, and I tried to stick to that sort of style, but I did add some effects and touches that I personally enjoy. To start off, we have this simple pad. It's very ambient. I opened up Hive in this EDM pack and picked Ambient Pad 1. So this is what it sounds like raw. And now with the effects. I also cut out the bass at 87 hertz, or the low end, so at 87 hertz, so we'd have room for the bass. The next thing I did was this simple sort of ambient top line with a piano. And for that, I added sausage fattener to turn it up, reverb, delay, chorus, texture, and then I used wire to pan it out a little bit. And then next, I'm going to skip a little bit. We have our sub bass. I went back and forth on a sub bass and an acoustic bass, but eventually I decided on the sub bass sounded better and a little more accurate. Very simple. Also, if you notice there is noise, that is because the recording, because it's a little old, it has this vinyl feel to it and a little bit of parts cut out. So I turned on this cassette first generation preset in RC20. I disabled the distortion, turned down the noise, and adjusted the EQ just a little bit. So we have some high end and just a little bit of low end cut out to give it an older sort of feel. And it's all for the aesthetic part. If you wanted to, you could make your song, and then at the end you could drag in vinyl noise, ambience, whatever you want, if you want it to sound like that. So after these 3 main layers, we have another piano that comes in a little later. Sounds like this. Same sort of processing, no wider. The sausage fattener's turned down a little bit, and it's up a little higher than the top line of the piano. And then finally, we have this little guitar melody. Originally, I pitched it up, but I brought it down because I thought it sounded better. I used sausage fattener, wider, pushed it out, and then cut some of the highs and the lows, and then the rest of the work is done. Alright, it's not showing up for some reason. I don't know why. My guitar rig is a white screen. I can see it. Don't know why the recording can't. But I used the jittery octave preset, and that has delay, um, a reverb, and some LFO stuff. There is also grain delay, transpose stretching, and some volume automation in the guitar rig preset, but I disabled those because it was doing too much. So altogether, we have a melody that sounds something like this. Alright, so we have all that. And then next in the song, this comes in sort of early. I have two sets of vocals here. We have this one, which is supposed to be like the vocals towards the intro. Very simple. I have EQ, very, very tight. I have reverb, delay, and wider. And then for the second vocal, there's in the original song there are strings, I believe, but I chose to use vocals instead of strings. That's one of the touches I was talking about for my personal preference, and those sound like this. So yeah, all this is a convolution reverb, I believe with, yep, the white noise preset. Wider, push it out all the way, and I put a high cut down to about 4.8 thousand hertz. And yeah, but if you wanted to use strings or be faithful to the original sort of style, you can use Zenology. They have quite a few string presets I like. Usually, I go into ensemble strings and pick either strings 1 or strings 2. I think Purity and Expand also have string presets, but Zenology is the one with strings I usually use. Alright, and now we move on to the drums. The drums are very simple in My Souls on Ice, so I took a very simple drum loop and added minimal chops, pretty much just moving an extra snare or kick in places. And for this, we use crystalline to make the chops less noticeable and make it sound more like somebody was playing drums in a room. Then I used guitar rig again. I'm sorry that you can't see this. I used the Faturated drums preset, which has Supercharger GT, Transient Master, Dirt, and Solid Bus Comp. I believe I didn't change anything, and this is just all stock. So if you have Guitar Rig 6, just open up the Faturated drums preset. And then I added a cut in the mid-range around 1.5 thousand hertz. I think You don't have to move any of the knobs, or maybe I did just a little bit, but it pretty much just dragged this straight down and you should have the cut. I also lowered them a little bit because the Supercharger GT is like sausage fattener, I believe. And then next, what I like to have are extra kick and snares to add more presence to the drum loop as we go on. And those, I believe, the snare has a mid cut, but then they both have the same crystalline preset. And then I added the saturated drums preset again to the kick, just to beef it up a little bit. And then we have hi-hat loop. Very simple. I like using this a lot. It's from some Reddit pack I have. Put crystalline on it to give it the presence, and then pushed it a little bit out with wider and turned it down lower than the rest. So the drums all together sound like this. Alright, and then finally we have 2 perk loops. At the start of and throughout my Souls on Ice, there's some like bongo sort of sound. I don't know if it's a bongo or a conga or a tom, but something in that vein. So I added these 2 in. I used the second loop sort of as emphasis, like how I do for the kick and the snare. And those together sound like this. Yep. And then these 2 have crystalline on it, and this one has wider on it to push it out a little bit. It's important to know that when you're using reverb on drums, use the same reverb preset. You can adjust the mix of it, but use the same reverb preset so everything sounds more cohesive and it's not like you just slapped a bunch of random shit together. But yeah, that's the simple breakdown. And then again, have RC20 on the master, and then like always, I have Ozone 11. And what I do is I come in here, go down to Ozone Legacy Presets, All-Purpose Mastering, click Adaptive Dynamics, and then I click on this button. And when you first load up Ozone and don't have this button, it's going to say like play the loudest section for AI mastering, play the loudest section for best results. So what I do is I'll come to somewhere like here where most of what's going on is playing. You can extend it to here because I'd say it would be about 16 bars before it's done, and then it analyzes the track and then changes the mix, which is what all of these inputs are. On the normal adaptive dynamics preset, I think it's just a maximizer, a dynamic EQ, and like a stabilizer, or another EQ. But then it adds all this other stuff, which can help. You might not like it at first. You can adjust EQs and the loudness up or down, the clarity. You can make sure that before you click what mastering, you click the genre, because hip hop and rap will sound different to EDM, which will sound different to reggae, which cinematic, country, you get it. It will tune to the genre you are trying to make, but if you're doing a blend of genres, obviously, you can test things out, and really it doesn't matter, but it will help give a general basis if you're like me and don't know enough about mastering to do it on your own. I feel like I know enough about mixing with, like, I can throw a preset on and I know what to adjust. If I don't hear something I like, if I hear something I don't like, I know what to get rid of. But if you're like me and don't know where to start with EQing or something like that, definitely use the AI Master to start you off and change things as you go. And changing things as you go is a great way to learn how. Always, 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 if you don't like something, don't just give up. Try and learn what knob does what button does what. Enabling and disabling things is a great way to learn. But yeah, that's it for now, and I'll play the full song, and then, yeah, download the sample pack. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.